blood. Because you see, so many of our ancestors was killed because we have never accepted slavery. We had to live on it, but we've never wanted it. So we know that this flag is drenched with our blood. So what the young people are saying now, give us a chance to be young men, respected as a man, as we know this country was built on the black backs of black people across this country. And if we don't have it, you ain't gonna have it either, because we gonna tear it up. That's what they saying. And people ought to understand that. I don't see why they don't understand that. They know what they've done to us.
Good people, what's up, what's good, man? I am blessed to be your host, Caleb Smith. Thank you guys again for tuning in to another episode of Chillin With Caleb. We have a lot of topics to get into. I'm very excited about these times because this is where we have true public discourse amongst the community, which is you. So thank you all so much. If you guys enjoy this content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank y'all again. As you guys know, we're about to cross over that threshold of 27K subscribers, which is crazy. So thank you all so much for being part of our community, joining what we got going on. I love each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. Let's get into Chilling with Caleb. Let's get it. Man, this very first topic, my friend, shout out to my guy, Joe, call him Hefe, but shout out to one of my best friends, Joe, childhood friend. He had texted me about Wemby, Victor Wembanyama. And Victor had just gotten news, or dispersed the news rather, about his blood clot issue and that he will have to sit out for the remainder of the season. That is huge because if you look at the Spurs, right, they were starting to trend upward. Of course, they were at the bottom of the Western Conference. However, the West is crazy. Like 5 and 10 seeds are separated by just 5 to 6 games, if that, sometimes even 3 to 2. But seeing how the Spurs were trending upward, y'all, they were looking so nice. I remember watching them play against my Hawks. And De'Aaron Fox was going crazy. I'm like, bro, this brother's cold. And seeing how they were able to trade for a De'Aaron Fox, which was very aggressive, which meant that they believed in their future, which meant that they had a bright future. And to see all of these things tumbling down, they had gotten CP3, Stephon Castle. They were building that nice young unit. And I was very excited to see where they would end up next. But now it's like, dang, bro, what are we going to do? What are the Spurs going to do? Pop, he's been out with his own health issues. You have arguably the next face of the NBA with the blood clot issue. This was reported by Shams, also Tim McMahon from ESPN. It states, San Antonio Spurs star Victor Wembanyama was expected to miss the remainder of the season with deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder. Man, the team announced Thursday. The Spurs said in a statement that the condition, a form of a blood clot, was discovered after Wemby returned to San Antonio after the All-Star game. The condition is typically treated with blood-thinning medication, which usually precludes a player from participating in a contact sport such as basketball. Wemby started feeling symptomatic recently, but believed he would feel better after 2 days off following the All-Star game, sources told ESPN Shams Charania. When symptoms persisted, Wemby underwent a battery of tests that showed the clot. A team source told ESPN that the Spurs are optimistic that Wemby will make a full recovery by the beginning of the 25-26 season. Man, it's tough. Spurs point guard Chris Paul said, tough more than anything, I think, for all of us knowing how much he means to our team, but more so knowing how much he means to the game and how much he loves to play. Wemby is the reigning rookie of the year, like we talked about in the first-time All-Star this season, was averaging 24.3 points a game, 11 rebounds, 3.7, so that's 4 assists, and the league-leading 3.8, that's 4 blocks, in 46 games for the 23 and 29 Spurs. The team said in a statement that updates on Wemby's condition would be provided as appropriate. Man, you guys can check out the full article by Tim McMahon on ESPN, but seeing that, guys, again, man, that is a gut puncher because this brother right here was extremely talented, and now knowing what's next, that's very unpredictable for him right now. Wemby's future is very unpredictable, and that's a scary thing because when you have mortgaged your future for said player, And now this is something that you really can't fix in a day or two. You probably can't fix it in a year or two. Who knows? This is very scary. This is very scary for the league as a whole because they've been going through viewership going down. They've been going through people talking about the All-Star game and the level of intensity not being there. And now we're at a standstill with the next great big player, and he might not even be available. In the Spurs, you don't see Pop on the sidelines. Now you won't see Wemby playing. That's a really big hit when it comes to ticket sales, when it comes to excitement, and I would say even further when it comes towards play-in excitement. The play-in it's turned into this precursor for the playoffs, which I love this concept by the NBA, Adam Silver. I love it because now teams can't really tank. And if you do tank, you still have to compete to make it to the playoffs, basically, in those top 10 seeds. And we know for a fact that the Spurs weren't going to lock in a 6 or really, let's say, a 5 seed because they would have to play from 7 on down, so 5 or 6. That if they were a 7 seed, a 8 seed, or 8 through 10, you would potentially see a Spurs matchup with Wemby playing playoff type basketball, De'Aaron Fox, Chris Paul, a young Stephon Castle. Like they had it. And I think that this is up to see over time. We will have to see how things unfold. It's a very unfortunate situation. Again, man, Wemby was their future. He is their future. So to see how his health is predicated on the overall success of the NBA right now. These are very vital times. So we will see how things unfold. This is a very interesting, unprecedented case. We will see how they handle this. I wish a speedy recovery for Wemby. I pray for all the health to be covered over him, but man, this is tough. This is tough. This is tough. He was having a phenomenal season. Like what we just read, he just played in the NBA All-Star weekend. He played in the game. Like he's an All-Star in year 2, and he had all this pressure on him. He played in the Olympics, and he balled out, and he said he feels sorry for any other opponents who have to see him on his path. So he has so much potential. But if Wemby doesn't, God forbid, if Wemby doesn't get the full opportunity to finish his career, it will become one of the biggest what ifs because he's like a creative player. We see him out there. He's blocking everything, the alleys. He has the 3 ball. If you wanted to create a player on NBA 2K, I've done it before as a kid. Like you would create Wemby, where it's a guy that's 7'4". He can shoot 7'6". Who knows? He can shoot. Let's just say he's almost 8 feet tall at this point. He can shoot threes. He can pass. He can dribble. He's smart. He's great off the court. He has a great personality. People love being around him, man. So I wish him the best. But if and when Wemby does get to come back, the league is in trouble because now he knows that this thing, that playing this game, is not for certain. There's no guarantees. And I think that he could use this and turn this into a positive of, hey, all of these things are temporary. I need to turn this around and I need to focus and love this game even more. If I thought I was already locked in, I could lock in even more. I think that is the overall silver lining that he can find in this is that, man, I can lock in. I can be even better because this was taken away from me. So during this time while he's sitting on the sidelines watching practices, he can start analyzing more. He can start seeing more of, okay, I can work on this on my game. I can refine that. So I think this can be a very scary thing for the league too, because now he has time to sit back, gain more information. I know he was on a minutes restriction last year. So I know he's like, dang, this year I was going to be unleashed. But man, just pray for him, man. I wish Wemby the best. But again, he could turn this negative into a positive. So this should be fun to see how everything turns out. Now let's get into our next topic. Peace, family. Thank y'all for tuning in. Last night, man, I was on League Pass. You know, I had to watch my Lakers and LeBron, and also Luka now. So it's crazy now having to pair it with LeBron and Luka. But man, I was so disappointed. LeBron and Luka, I know they have been the talk of the town. Everybody loves talking about the Lakers now, of course, and the Lakers bringing so much revenue to the league. It's one of those blue chip cornerstone franchises, right? Dallas Cowboys of the NBA, if you will. But seeing how Bron played, he played amazing. Unfortunately, they lost to the Hornets 100-97 last night. The Lakers are still around that 5 seed, but man, they had a massive opportunity. If they would have beat the Jazz before All-Star break, they had beat them the previous game before that game, which I know sounds confusing, but then they played the Jazz again, All-Star break, came back, lost to the Hornets. That was very frustrating to watch last night. Seeing how Rui smoked both of those free throws, man, I was like, man, please don't miss it. He missed both. Then Bron missed both of those 3-pointers as well. So that was frustrating to see. But they shouldn't even have been in that situation. They were up by as much as 13-16, I think, against the Hornets. LaMelo, he balled out. Miles Bridges went crazy. Jeffries on the Hornets. The Lakers, I think they were favored by 13.5 points. It was one of the biggest money lines that they said in Vegas. And it was the biggest blown favorite type of lead, or just being a favorite going into that game, that the Lakers have had all year. And it's very concerning because they were trending upward, man, before this Luka trade. Max Christie balling, AD balling, Dalton Connect. Yeah, he was having his ebbs and flows, but he felt part of the team. Now Dalton, when I see him out there, it's just not the same. And I think that Mark Williams trade not going through really caused the big deficit with that roster. Alex Len is cool. He's a body that's 7 feet plus. We need that. However, where our biggest problem is lying, or just from seeing as a fan, is having that having a reliable source. Luka isn't that right now. And I know that he's super rusty, but man, just seeing, I think at one point he was like 1 from 9 from the 3-point line. I'm like, dang, and he did look out of shape. He did look out of rhythm. So you start thinking about all of those concerns that you were hearing from Dallas. It's like, dang, Luka does look out of shape. Dang, like, what does Luka's game look like if his shot isn't falling? And I remember I would have that critique of him, but now seeing him in that Lakers jersey, in that purple and gold, it's very concerning, because it's like, brother, you got to get in shape. You got to get that shot to fall. Because if that shot doesn't fall, as we saw, LaMelo on that ISO in the fourth, shook him, got busy. And Luka's on a whole nother side of the floor. And that makes you start to wonder and start to think, okay, in playoff time, when they start to hunt you, how are you going to react? But then we also cannot have recency bias, because last year, this brother drugged the Mavs. Who would have thought him and Kyrie would have drugged the Mavs to the finals? So I don't want to be too reactionary where everybody wants to see LeBron fail. Everybody wants to see the Lakers lose. And them getting Luka makes them hate the Lakers and LeBron even more. Give it time. I know Luka will find his stride. But also, I found it very concerning where Luka could use this as a learning moment. How can my game get refined when my shot isn't falling? That's when you start to lean on defense, but he's not a defensive player. That's the caveat. So during this time, this is what's getting exposed to him of, okay, I got to work on this, because I'm telling you, man, come playoff time, they will exploit every weakness that you have. So you want to make sure that you have as low of amount of weaknesses as possible, because they will get exposed. So I think that this is a big learning moment for Luka of how to adapt his game, of how to still stay involved, even if he's not getting the ball all the time, even if he's not shooting every time. How do I stay involved? How do I stay engaged? LeBron balling, hooping, doing his thing, dunking on Mark Williams. It was crazy. At 40 years old, had Bronny like, what? This is my dad. Hey, bring your child to work day, huh? But it was very cool to see last night. Fun game. Lakers, they were playing solid. But then around that third, when Austin Reeves, when he got ejected, that's when the game changed completely. So seeing those things, it threw off the overall flow of the game. Austin Reeves, he was needed because he was being consistent, a facilitator. People don't really notice this, but anytime that Luka's sitting down, or if Bron is sitting down, who's holding it down? Austin Reeves, who gave us a 40 ball just a few weeks ago, Austin Reeves. So he's a hooper, and by him not being in the game, it was very, very obvious, because that's when that 13-point lead changed, and then I think it got to a point to where the Hornets had a 9-point lead. So it was a crazy swing of momentum, and that shows how important Austin Reeves is to the Lakers. And for all the people out there, don't get so caught up when you see the first takes and everybody else talking about, oh, are the Lakers for real? Are they suspect? Guys, the Hornets are an NBA team too. They have to beat somebody. I'm not expecting the Lakers to beat every team that they're supposed to beat. Yes, it's disappointing. Yes, it's frustrating, but there's an 82-game season. Let's calm it down. Things happen. One time when I was just sifting through, I didn't even know this because, of course, I was born in 97, but Mike, I think this might have been in the 98 finals. They lost to the Hornets game 1. Then after that, gentleman's sweep. But everybody was panicking after game 1. So things happen in the league. Losses like this happen when everybody's trying to figure each other out. Like what Bron was trying to tell Luka, you don't worry about fitting in. We're going to fit around you. Luka just has to learn to be Luka again. And guys, think about it. He hasn't played since Christmas. He came back. He's been playing like here and there, but he hasn't been himself because it takes a while to get used to running up and down the court. But I do think he can use this as a positive of, hey, I need to get in better shape. Hey, I need to get more locked in on the defensive end. He was getting rebounds. He was doing his thing last night, but seeing him get shook, I'm like, brother, you gotta play some type of defense. So this is a real learning experience. As he sees, LA lights are very bright. Everybody's watching every move, every possession. I saw some fans even getting frustrated. I'm like, man, LA does not play. It went from LA fans with the Luka jerseys playing the Serbian music, all that stuff for him, to now it's like, bro, we need you to perform. But I love that because it holds the star players accountable. Players know when you come to LA, you got to be on your A game, because if you're not, you're going to see it on Twitter, you're going to see it on social media. So you got to come prepared. But Luka, again, just like with Wemby, use this and turn it into a silver lining moment of, I can use this as a moment to lock in more, be better, shoot better, play defense better, and be more engaged. So shout out to the Lakers, man. They're going to turn it around. Fingers crossed. I'm praying for it, but we shall see. But I have all the faith in Bron. I have all the faith in Luka. JJ Redick, he has done his thing as well. I know people have their critiques of Bron of missing those game-winning shots. I do too. Seeing the stat, I think it was 1 for 29 in the fourth quarter for game tying or winning shots. If I'm not mistaken, his past 4 or 5 years has been 1 for 29. That stat was very alarming. Seeing Bron miss both of those three-pointers, he had the opportunity. Disappointed. That's something that Bron has to be better at in those moments. And I am a Bron stan, but I could be real. In those moments, he has to be better. If you feel like Jordan, he's your GOAT, and that's why, off of the clutch shots, hey, I can't be mad at you. But we've seen Bron come through in the clutch as well, especially with that 2018 run by itself. But to your point, Jordan fans, Kobe fans, if that's your critique, I can say that that's a fair one. So we could talk about that in the comments. But thank you guys again for being tuned in. We're going to cover some very, very good topics after this, just like how we did with the first two. All my sports fans, I had to show y'all some love because these were very big events in the sports world. But now, man, we're about to get into politics, into current events as well. But I thank y'all. Make sure to keep staying tuned, share out the content, comment below what topics you would like for us to cover next. But I love y'all. Now let's get back into the next topic. Let's go. Family, let's talk about it. Let's talk. I know you guys have been seeing a bum rush of Elon Musk everywhere. You've been seeing him at the White House, him and his son on his shoulders in the Oval Office. He's standing up. Trump is sitting down. Elon being involved with the CIA and FBI and budget cuts and things like that. Seeing this up close and personal is very alarming. And the reason for my pause earlier is because of processing. We have a billionaire who's not really from America involved in U.S. everyday things. And he's the furthest detached person from everyday people. And not only that, he takes it a step further and then involves himself in the Oval Office. You see him basically moving around like another president. Even his son making that comment, "You're not the president." That's how Elon talks at home. And I want for us as a people to really take a step back and to analyze us as Black people and America as a whole, the obsession with rich white billionaires. The reason why I say that is because we see often that there is this admiration because they are the full personification of the overall American dream, of somebody who comes in and they work hard and they're genius and they're just better at what they do and they make money. And by them making so much money, it makes them this rightful person to look up to admire, because they're smarter, because they know things. I was watching CNN and one political analyst had stated, "Elon, I trust him because he's just smarter than us." And then I had to be like, whoa, how is he smarter than us? Explain. If we go through failed business after failed business, if we go through just simple things within what he does, what's so genius? We have to understand that there's a difference between having funding and being a genius. What I can say is when I see everyday people, everyday Black people making things work, that's genius. Everyday Black people making penny stretch and figuring out how to do this, do that, that's genius. Being the top percent in your job in corporate America, or being at the top percentile in your colleges, in your fields with everything stacked against you, that's pure ingenuity. If I have funding from my daddy and I keep getting funding, which is what Trump got as well. Is that really genius? Is that really hardworking? Or is that just more access to capital, more access to opportunities? Because I promise you, if we had the average black business owner or the average young black person had somebody invest in them the same way Elon's been invested to, might look a little different. Might look a whole lot different. That's why we have so many parameters in place today to stop us from doing what we're trying to do. So we have to stop with this obsession. And I remember, man, shout out to my brother Blue Pill, where he had broke down on his page that white supremacists need a daddy. And it's so ironic because they talk about us. They talk about black people and single fathers and all this, or single mothers, and there not being enough black fathers, which there are. But because there are enough black fathers. But these tropes, but then Elon Musk, he's a baby daddy. Elon Musk, not only is that, he's an immigrant, but he's a billionaire though. And that's the message to America. You see white America and Trumpers championing Elon Musk. But I laugh because he has none of the quote unquote values and principles similar to you. Have you asked Elon Musk if he's a white Christian? Have you asked Elon Musk how he feels about abortion? No, because that doesn't matter because he's a rich white billionaire. And eventually they're going to learn and they're going to see that they're actually, white supremacists are the biggest ones getting played. How about that? How crazy is that? White supremacists are actually the biggest ones getting played. What do you mean by that, Caleb? Earlier today, while I'm pumping gas at the gas station, a white man who is a veteran pulled up beside me and said, "Hey, brother." And I turned around. I'm like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing? Are you from this area?" I said, "Yeah, born and raised." And then after that, he was like, okay. Well, I am a vet, former Marine, and I need help getting to the Veterans Hospital, to the VA. I was like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry. Like, I'm the type, sometimes I can feel off the vibes. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't help you, but you have a blessed day." But when I got in the car, my wife's question was very poignant because she said, "Hey, Caleb, what was that guy wanting?" And then when I told her, she was like, "Did you ask him who he voted for?" Because he said, "I promise you, he probably voted for Trump." And seeing now how people's everyday lives are affected. See, it felt good in that moment, right? It felt good voting for that. It felt good championing that. And I'm not saying one party's better than the other, but I'm talking about this was open white supremacy. This was out loud white supremacy. We already knew what type of time he was on. So now seeing how everyday white people, you voted for this. Racist white, you asked for your own slaughtering. And it's happening now, and it's affecting your everyday lives. Because what they're starting to see unfold is they don't view you the same as them. You're trash. You're trash. You're just another number to get me in power, because this is really a business move. Why do you think Elon's trying to cut certain government agencies? Why do you think he's trying to meddle in these things? They do not want regulation. Elon bought and paid for Donald Trump. That's why he walks into the White House against dress code in the Oval Office with a hat on, with a coat on, chilling. If this was President Obama, and if he had, let's say, Robert Smith acting like this, they would think that black people are taking over the U.S. government. And this is this double standard that we as black people get tired of seeing. We get tired of seeing mediocrity being praised. Elon Musk, we see this dude, we see him walking around like he owns the place. But I can't even say like he owns the place, because he probably does at this point. Because unfortunately in America, everybody is up for sale, including Donald Trump. President Trump sold himself. He sold the entire Republican Party. He sold his ideologies. He sold everything to your favorite billionaire, Elon Musk. That's why Elon is coming in flexing his muscle. And people don't understand the full importance of body language. When you see Elon walking around the Oval Office, has his son on his shoulder, he's showing that this is my stuff. This is me. I'll run this. When you see him meeting at these conferences with government leaders talking about geopolitical issues, it's because he feels like he's in control. Where's J.D. Vance? Has anybody asked that? They were talking about where's Kamala? Where's J.D. Vance? I forgot that he was even the vice president. We see them talking about budgets, all these other things, running it like it's a business. But have we asked them how many failed businesses that they've had? See, that's the part that nobody wants to get into with Trump, Elon. And then even with Elon, okay, you're a billionaire. So this is an oligarchy. Oh, see, that's the part that nobody wants to talk about. We have the rich and the wealthy meddling with government. And yes, to me, honestly, in this capitalistic society, this has always existed, but this is more of a violent, a more of a out front approach where you have your biggest billionaire talking at the White House. The double standards. And what poor white people have to understand is that you have more in common with the black man than you do with the Donald Trump, than you do with the Elon Musk. This is what Fran Hampton was showing us with the Rainbow Coalition before that was co-opted. We saw that. We saw the full effectiveness of it. That's why you had to kill a young 20-year-old in his apartment, December 4th. That's why you had to do that. Because of that line being drawn of showing this is what this looks like. Then we go a step back. Baker's Rebellion. Let's talk about that, where you had white indentured servants working alongside slaves. They revolt, they work together. Let me give you something called whiteness. Black people, blackness. Yeah, y'all go over there. You might be getting paid less or the same as nothing. You might not be getting paid anything, or probably a scrap here or two. But guess what? You're white, though. Does that not sound familiar with what we're seeing right now? You could be in a trailer park. You could be having one leg because you got diabetes, but I'm white, though. And that's what they have sold you, and they keep selling you every single time is whiteness. Whiteness, whiteness, whiteness. Whiteness over morality. Whiteness over you looking around and being aware of what's actually going on. I'm white, though. I'm not worried about all that. And right now, the white people have come to cash their checks, but they're going to soon learn there's no money to give. Because the rich have always benefited off of you being focused on left and right and not looking up and down. And it's been working every single time for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years off of your willful ignorance. And it's always black people's fault. It's always this group's fault. It's always that group's fault. But you never look in the mirror and realize that this is my country. If I have been running things, the person I have to look at is myself. But there's always been this full separation between the white elite and poor white America. And they know it's true. But the one commonality that they have is the whiteness. But what's so deep is the white elite, they gave that to you because they needed you to always be their guard dog. And that's what you're doing right now. Even justifying these actions of what we see in politics, even how Trump is holding press conferences, this is not presidential. This is not respectable. And it's even more deplorable when we see Elon Musk that's running things, especially after you remember that whole salute thing, correct? So after seeing that salute, we won't even say the name, that salute, and seeing his involvement in international issues, you have a billionaire running the United States of America. And yes, we've always had shadow government. I believe in that stuff for sure. But now it's even more disrespectful because he's like, yeah, I'm running it. And what are you going to do about it? So during this time, for us as black people, we have to get together even more. We have to mobilize even more. And we have to continuously create our own institutions. But it's very important for us to acknowledge what's going on right now, of having a quasi-president basically running things disrespectfully, and his care is white nationalism. And the biggest play that I want for people to be just aware of is South Africans, the white Afrikaners, being used as a new white class here in America. We can clearly see an immigration pipeline that could potentially happen for all of the conflict that's going on in South Africa, for the white Afrikaners to be able to move to America, and that serves as your new white class. This has always happened in America. There's always been a new white class that's been used to spread more whiteness. We saw it with the Italians. They were viewed as almost black because why? Because of the Moors, because their close proximity to Africa, to North Africa. The Irish and so many more. Whiteness is this flexible thing that they keep stretching so thin that eventually it will break because it was on a weak foundation to begin with. All of this is out of fear. Whether you see the Karens, the Kens, right, and all these people that's frustrated, this is coming out of fear. These people are afraid. And everything that they're doing is reactionary. This is a full reaction to President Obama. They had a black president. They never recovered since. They couldn't fathom a black man running this country successfully. Too frustrating. So we're going to present you with a Donald Trump. Obama. But not only our Obama, but we're gonna come out with this guy where he's not qualified, but he's white and he's a quote unquote businessman. And that's what we're gonna go with. And that's white America, and that's America for you right there, where I can be half as qualified, I can be half as good, all of that, but I'm white. And it's that overall idea of whiteness which drives the everyday functions of these people. As long as I'm white, I'm cool. And that's what we see in real time. So again, during this time, we must mobilize as a people, create our own institutions, fund those already standing institutions that's already there, and breathe life into those things. We continuously must keep up the good work that we've always kept up as a people, specifically as foundational Black Americans who are foundational to this land and its very inception, right? We've always been here and we will always be here. And it's our job to create a better future for our people and for our children. So I have full confidence in us, man. I have full confidence. I just want for us to be aware and to see what's going on and to not panic, but just be immersed and abreast of what's going on. So thank y'all again, man, for always being tuned in. We're going to hop into our next topic right after this. Y'all, I have got to highlight and show love to Asia Wilson and Jordan Childs for being nominated as Women of the Year and being featured on Time Magazine. That is a very big feature. I love that for them. Asia Wilson and Jordan Childs, they've done amazing things as Olympians, right? And as just women in sports. I love this overall space of seeing Black women impact sports, right? Black women have always done that, but seeing this being highlighted, seeing them be with Nike, that's a major conglomerate. As we know, Nike is arguably the favorite sportswear, sports fashion here in America. And I love seeing that for Black women because they're going to give you the biggest deals. So seeing them do that, seeing them being honored by Time Magazine, I just want to salute them and show them love. We've been talking and thinking about creating a brand new segment, I guess, about just showing love to Black people, Black acknowledgement. So I guess we can start doing that today. I guess we could call it Black love or shout outs, but I just want to give love to Asia Wilson, Jordan Childs as well for just always doing great things, being exemplary when it comes to being Black women, being strong Black women who lead by example. So I salute y'all, sisters. Keep up all the great work and keep doing what you're doing. And also we're going to do another Black love and another Black shout out at the end of this episode because it's another individual I got to salute. But thank y'all. And all the other young Black girls out there, take notes, learn, like, okay, this is how they did it. Study them, whether it's the Juju Watkins as well. Like, she's a beast. There's Floja. Like, there's so many dope Black women. Just start looking at them in sports. And I love seeing this, whether we see representation in gymnastics, we see representation in hoops now. Like, I love this. I love seeing this era. And also they are taking down so many stereotypes, right? Where there's this negative trope about especially Black women who are athletes, that they're too masculine, right? And that they're always this way, that way. No, we see Jordan Child, she's a girly girl. We see her in gymnastics. We see Asia Wilson in her full femininity, but then she can still dominate on the court. That's a beautiful thing to see. So shout out to those ladies. Eventually we will see the salary cap go up in the WNBA. We will see these changes happen because of cornerstone players like Asia Wilson. So shout out to her. Keep up all the great work. Then after this, we're going to go to the next topic and then we're going to keep it pushing. Let's go. If you guys are like me, it is way too concerning seeing all of these plane crashes. These plane crashes are absolutely insane. I don't know what's going on, but seeing this, man, it is very concerning. And if this was happening under another president, I already know Trump would be having a field day with this. And seeing how they blame this on DEI, there is a true institutional issue that has to be fixed with this. I don't know whether it's air traffic control. I don't know if people have to be rehired that have maybe been fired by Elon Musk and all of them doing these various budget cuts, but something has to change. And seeing these plane crashes, now we have people that's too scared to even go on flights right now. I know some people have their conspiracy theories, which might not be too far-fetched of, hey, are they trying to put us back on trains? Is there a new subway system that they want for us to become a part of? I know Elon Musk in the past has talked about developing a subway system in LA. Is that what the overall play is to make people more comfortable to go to these other various forms of travel, of getting from point A to point B? I don't know, y'all, but it's very concerning to see. And it's like it's a new plane crash every single day. Every single day, there's a new development, there's a new crash, and it makes people concerned. Seeing how Delta recently had a crash where they're offering people 30,000 a piece, and they're saying there's no strings attached, but there's always strings attached. So now we have companies like Delta who are trusted going through these things as well. We had in Tucson where two small planes, they collided. So it's like even private flights, even private jets, how are they affected? So seeing all of this uncertainty when it comes to simple things like flying that we don't even think about no more. I know for us, like around 2001 with the World Trade Center, 9/11, of course, but post that, like people didn't think twice about traveling. People felt the safest flying. And now everybody's like, oh, should I take this flight? Or if I don't have to fly, should I fly? So it is a very uncertain day for Americans. I know people are concerned when we go on the news every day. It's a brand new development. It's a brand new concern because we're seeing constant change. And it's like, where do we go from here? But CNN recently dropped a good article about this. This was by an actual flight analyst. This title, you can find this on CNN. This is by Harry Enton, but it says it feels there are suddenly way more plane crashes and incidents. Here's the truth. Right. The crash landing of Delta Airlines Flight 4819 in Toronto is some of the scariest video I've ever seen. While thankfully there were no fatalities, videos like that are the stuff that nightmares are made of. Monday's crash landing doesn't feel like an isolated incident, especially after last month's collision of an American Airlines plane and a U.S. Army helicopter, that left 67 people dead. It feels like the skies are becoming more dangerous, but sometimes feelings can be deceiving. A look at the statistics suggests that the skies are about as friendly as they've ever been. Take a look at January's preliminary data from the National Transportation Safety Board. It appears that last month there was a record low number of airplane accidents nationwide when combining private and commercial airline flights. Most of the 62 total airplane accidents were on private flights, and that total number was 18 less than the 80 recorded in January 2024. Listen, brother, they can say all that they want to say is actually less. We know what we're seeing. This isn't normal. And that's what we were talking about in the previous topics as well. You can tell us one thing, but always trust your eyes. If anything from this episode, family, take that tidbit. Always trust your eyes. If it doesn't look normal, it's probably not normal. These accidents, what's at play? The Netflix film that I constantly think about is Leave the World Behind. That was the title. We did a whole Decoded with the good brother KT, the arts degree. This was probably back in the winter of 2023, I think. But seeing how Teslas were crashing into each other uncontrollably, planes, boats. This is what we're seeing. And I don't know if this is an actual war that's going on, where this is a cyber attack that we're seeing from China or from other countries, but something's not right. I remember that we saw balloons in the sky and things like that, and the parachutes and the drones a few years ago, or like last year. And seeing that happen, it's like, does this correlate with the planes right now? Is there something at large going on? They've been talking about UFOs. They've been talking about weird things that's been deemed conspiracy theories to now being actual facts. Are we taking it a step further now? And are we under a cyber attack? Who knows? But these are very interesting times, and these are kind of unexplainable things. And I think that they're too afraid to let us know the truth, because if they do, public panic could surge. But this is very interesting times, man. 2025 has been one hell of a year already, and it's still Black History Month. We hadn't even made it past Black History Month. But everybody that's taking flights, man, pray for your family, move vigilant, check your surroundings, be safe, be as safe as you can possibly be, because at the end of the day, you are not flying that plane. But man, oh man, we have seen some weird things. We have whole TV shows like Manifest that's based off of planes disappearing. We've had actual flights. I think flight 757, if I'm not mistaken, in Malaysia, that disappeared. So with these flights, Bermuda Triangle, we've seen weird things happen, but seeing them happen often, the weird and the unnormal starts to become normal. How about that? The unnormal starts to become normal when it keeps happening. So we're seeing so much change. We're seeing things happen that we aren't used to seeing. So how do we adapt from here? So stay vigilant. Don't panic. Just study what's going on. In the words of the great Black Dot, shout out to him, Urban X Podcast, to study the known, or to study the unknown, you study the known. And that's what we have to do. We have to apply what we know with what we don't know right now. So apply all the skill sets, all the things that we've learned from the past, to learn and prepare for the present and for the future. So after this, man, we're about to close the show out. So keep staying tuned. Thank y'all. We love y'all. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share as well. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this. Peace. Family, thank y'all for tuning in to another edition of Chillin' with Caleb, man. But before we close out, like what I said, we always got to show love to our people. It's always fun to sit down with you all, chop it up with you guys. I'm even thinking about doing these twice a week because I love it so much. But I wanted to also show love to this brother, Zeb Powell. Zeb Powell made history as the first black snowboarder to win the X Games gold. That is insane. If you guys get the chance, look up Zeb Powell's highlight tape. My wife, man, she put me on to him. I would probably say like a few months ago on TikTok, and seeing his highlights. This brother was so talented. And this goes back to my point about earlier about black genius, black ingenuity. We do this. If we are, and I don't even want to, I had to be very careful with my choice of words. I can't say if we are allowed. When we decide to go into these spaces and create space for ourselves, we dominate. Even in snowboarding. Snowboarding is always seen as a white thing. With the snow, with the cold, with the snowboarding, because of the expenses behind it. Typically, people who are exposed to that go to Aspen. Those are very just expensive trips overall. And seeing this young brother, Zeb Powell, come in here, dominate this space, do his thing already at such a young age, it shows us our own prowess, our own ingenuity, and what we can and what we will do and accomplish. And that's why I was talking about with Elon Musk earlier. Like when we call these billionaires and these people geniuses, it's everyday people that run their businesses. It's everyday people that keep their things alive. When we think about Jeff Bezos, think about all those Amazon warehouse workers that keep that business running every single day. What if they all decided one day that we're just going to walk away? What's next? Yeah, they can come out with robots, all of those things, but there's certain things that humans do have to do. Even prompt the robots. There will be a human needed for something. So when we are quick to label these people as geniuses, we have to look at our own geniuses that are defying reality every single day in places that they are supposed to be limited in. And seeing them be unlimited and unleash their full creative genius is something that must be saluted. So shout out to the good brother Zeb Powell. Seeing that is a breath of fresh air. I love seeing that. He's doing great work. Shout out to Asia Wilson. Shout out to Jordan Childs, her being highlighted, and all the various other black people that's out there doing their thing and making their light shine for and by their people. So I love seeing that. And that is the one piece of game that I want to give you guys on the way out today, is to understand that you are a genius yourself. We are so quick to highlight other people, to deem other people as geniuses, as bright, all these other things. But what about you? What you do is genius every single day in your own way. Have that full confidence and take that with you in any and everything that you walk into. And know that you provide value and that you are a genius, that you come from a very long line of such. You can look at the pyramids. You can look at the pyramids here in North America, the accomplishments in North America by itself. You can go to Africa. Your footprints are everywhere throughout this planet, your people's footprints, your knowledge. Look at your daily footprints that you leave every single day. Look at the daily impact that you leave every single day on the people who encounter you, on the people who embrace you and that you embrace. You make the world a better place every single day and continuously do so. And that is your genius. And everything else is just extra on top of that. Treat people how you want to be treated, make an impact, make somebody smile today. On top of your godly gift that's already given to you. Maximize that by just being a great person. And I promise you it's going to come back to you tenfold. So shout out to all the great people. Shout out to y'all. We love y'all. We thank y'all. We appreciate you guys so much. 27,000 Army. That's huge. So independently funded, independent everything. But I can't even say independent because it comes from you all. Funded by the people and it's for the people. So, man, we love you all so much. Blessed be your host, Caleb Smith. Just stay positive, stay locked in. Do everything that you have to do to become the best version of yourself for your family, your people, and your community. So I love you all, man. Another episode of Chillin' with Caleb. Until next time, blessed be your host, Caleb Smith. Peace.